Then we'll open the floor for 10 minutes of audience Q&A. So get your questions ready in the chat. Let me introduce our stellar panel. First, we have Misha Putyatan, co-founder of Symbiotic. Next, Alon Morok, founder and core contributor to SSV Network. Then we have Artemay Porshakov, VP of Institutions at P2P.org. And finally, Daniel Hanif, product lead ETH, also at P2P.org. Welcome, gentlemen. To start off this discussion, I'll request each of our panelists to tell our audience about their projects, explain which improvement in the Pectra upgrade they consider the most transformative for Ethereum and why. Let's start with Misha. Misha, please go ahead.
Hey, my name is Misha. I'm co-founder of Symbiotic. We developing a universal staking framework, basically touching everything decentralized. So yeah, really excited about this new update.
Alon, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Alan. I'm the CEO of SSV Labs. We are the core team behind the SSV network. SSV network is an decentralized infrastructure for staking on Ethereum. We are currently just crossed the 100K validators on Ethereum, roughly 3.2 million ETH. And we are the platform for both staking and what we recently announced called based applications, which is kind of the extension of what validators can do and how they can earn extra rewards.
Artemay?
Yeah, hey everyone, Vishal, thanks for the moderating, thanks for having us. So my name is Artemy, I'm VP of Institutions at P2P.org. P2P.org is the leading staking and restaking provider in the world with roughly 10 billion of TVL. So we are also the leading Ethereum validator. Very bullish on the Pectra upgrade, delivering like functionality for our users on Ethereum and validator consolidation. And yeah, happy to talk about the opportunities which Pectra brings to the users and to the broader ecosystem in general. Thanks.
And finally, Daniel, please.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. So my name is Daniel. I'm the product lead for the Ethereum ecosystem at P2P. I won't go into what P2P is about. Artemy's briefly covered that. But Vishal, I think you asked what's the most impactful EIP of Pectra, right? In my opinion, it has to be, like, you probably have L2s looking at blob throughput, but it has to be around account abstraction, right? I think that opens up so many doors for EOAs with the smart contract functionality, user experience. And I think user experience in Ethereum and in crypto in general is overlooked sometimes. And it's a massive point of adoption, right? You know, at the end of the day, what's the customer experience? What's the customer flow? Is it easy for them to use? Is it comparable to Web2 or TradFi? I think these are all questions, and how devs use account abstraction to improve their dApps, improve onboarding, is yet to be seen, but I think it's a super cool feature. Obviously, there's a lot of other things with Pectra, like max effective balance, but yeah, I'd say that's the main one for me.
Yeah, for our audience, would you, like, a lot of people are not familiar with account abstraction, you know, it's a technical word. Would you explain for the audience, like, what account abstraction means and how it's being implemented with this upgrade?
Okay, let me try my best to describe this as simply as I can. So you've got wallets or EOAs in this instance. What account abstraction will allow is these wallets to have smart contract or enable smart contract functionality to an extent for these wallets. So think of things like an external party paying your gas fees for you, right? Even right now, when I'm doing transactions on Ethereum, or when I was new to Ethereum or crypto in general, it was extremely confusing for me to understand these gas transactions, and I needed, especially since how expensive it can be sometimes. Other doors that it can open up is allowing verification and improving the onboarding experience for users into certain dApps. You can think of things like possibly even retaining lost crypto or scammed crypto. It can help with aspects like that, but essentially giving smart contract functionality to a wallet and then letting devs open the door to what they can do with that. One more thing, one thing that we're exploring at P2P is, obviously we're a staking infrastructure provider, but you've got different types of staking strategy. Obviously, Alon, we work super closely with SSV here, with Symbiotic. But one thing that account abstraction can open up is for stakers to maintain ownership of their validators, and you shift them through different staking strategies, possibly to maximize yield, maximize rewards. That's a really, really cool area that we're sort of exploring at P2P. That I think is interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like construction could lead to a lot of new opportunities, but uh, you know, what kind of use cases do you gentlemen see uh, when you think about? One thing is like obviously gas flexibility. You could like pay with any token. But yeah, feel free to jump in and maybe explore some of these like use cases. Maybe
Yeah,
Misha,
like
would you like to? Yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, like you do. First of all, like the ability to utilize and verify different curves for the nerds out there, it's really important. For the like wider audience, you can log in into Google, like using Google Creds into your into your wallet, which is kind of present their own challenges, but like you can log in through Google, you can recover your keys with like social recovery and possibly like with third parties. And yeah, like when you send people transactions like that, I don't know, like send them Waymo or some other like Cash App or Revolut or something, you don't like care about how like what is the server cost for Visa or Mastercard or something like that. You don't have to calculate like gas fees or like figure out do you want it to be done fast or like slow or something in between, or like buy another currency. Like say I want to like transfer to Daniel like $1 and need to buy like rupees, 10 rupees to pay for this, or like 10 dirhams for where I live. And yeah, like it's a overall UX improvement. Industry is maturing, and Ethereum is like answering this call to mature because UX is like the only thing that is actually like missing hardly from us right now. Blockchains are kind of fast, and they are like really reliable, at least like the better ones of them. But in terms of like actual user acquisition and retention, for that we need like a better UX, much better UX. So that's why we have like new initiatives into like new push from the wallet side and like other companies trying to like optimize the user experience there, because that's like sorely missing from us. And Pectra will deliver this on a protocol level, so you don't have to deploy like too much on your side.
I want to maybe put a spotlight on the max effective balance EIP, because I think that's something which is very dear to my heart. So, of course, it has a lot to do with validators, but I think that the ability to consolidate validators will, for the very minimum, will increase realistic rewards from staking by at least 20 to 30%. It's going to reduce up to a factor of 64 the cost of running infrastructure. And then there's secondary and tertiary effects on the actual Beacon chain itself, reducing significantly the amount of validators. So that's, I think, going to be quite significant in terms of staking. And in general, kind of the broader challenge I think Ethereum has, which is how do we increase the value retention and value capturing for ETH holders. And so I think that's going to be direct rewards back to their pockets in that sense.
I'd just say I definitely agree with Alon. And plus, you've got other features that it enables, with the validator consolidation, you've got partial withdrawals and that entire aspect.
Compounded interests.
Yeah, auto compounding, all direct staker impacting features with MEV.
Yeah, I mean, it does, make a lot of these operations super efficient for staking firms, for, operators. But does it also like increase, the risk of centralizing some of these stakes, centralizing is further at least? Like, do you see any risk
I
there?
think that well, already you have big infrastructure providers, so most probably what they will do is consolidate their own validators. So I think actually on that front, it's better because if there's no value in having very small validators all operated by the same operator because it's roughly the same equivalent as consolidating them. And so in that sense, I think it's better. Um, I think there are ways to decentralize. So DVT is definitely one of those ways, and I think a lot of the different projects like Lido, for example, and Etherfi and Rocket Pool introducing permissionless validators is a way to go. But ultimately, I think the economics. I mean, if you can increase the economics of solo and small time stakers, you'll have more decentralization. And I think that goes back to the value capturing paradigm. I mean, if you can have more value captured by stakers, increase their margins, you'll have more solo stakers because solo stakers are the ones with the least profit margins because a big operator can have economies of scale in terms of infrastructure and people and DevOps and stuff like that. Solo stakers don't really have that, and so if you can increase the net rewards they get, you'll have more solo stakers. So on that front, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Alan. I see that like the EIP 7251 with max effective balance, it's actually brings more positive things to the network, like lowering the number of validators, increasing the network throughput, increasing stability, and getting back to the centralization risks. They still exist. There are big players. That's right. They won't get that many benefits because to proceed decentralizing more, because actually the value capture will go lower, and as Alan said, like the smaller staking players can increase economics and actually compete with the larger players better. So there is potential, like smaller reason, but the positive outcomes are way bigger of the CAP.
Yeah, it's like wearing a real the shoes that are 3 sizes smaller than you need, and then like getting into the one that the ones that fit you.
Yeah, and everyone keeps talking about scaling Ethereum further, and this upgrade also kind of doubles the blob throughput. Again, that's pretty technical. So for our audience, would one of you or maybe multiple, could you explain like how this helps with the scaling efforts of Ethereum?
I guess I could take this. So blobs were introduced as a new transaction type on Ethereum, and essentially what it is storage of data. So this is primarily significant for like a L2 scalability, and it's how L2 has access to Ethereum data, putting it simply, without actually interacting with the core transactional side of the Ethereum blockchain. So they get access to more data through these blobs in a more compact manner. And by increasing blob throughput or blob size, you're essentially increasing that storage so they have access to more data with less friction. That's, yeah. And I think, sorry, go on.
Sure. Good. I mean, I was wondering, the transaction fees on the mainnet is still pretty low, and if you like double the throughput, block throughput, I'm assuming that the fees are going to go down further because L2s become cheaper. Is that correct?
From my understanding, L2s become cheaper, and I think overall it reduces the cost of Ethereum as well, Ethereum transactional at base layer, um, which is massively significant. And I think it's one of the biggest barriers specifically for Ethereum becoming or getting wider scale adoption, you know, and using it. And plus, when you have lower gas fees or transactional fees on Ethereum, you just open up new market shares of opportunities. Like, think of applications that require multiple transactions in short periods of time, gaming, other ventures, payments, things like that. And when you're starting to target those areas, have massive markets, and you can solve for it in crypto, I think that's when you're going to be winning, or you're going to be seeing super cool applications coming out.
And I was like curious to understand like the specific impact that this upgrade might have, let's say on SSV with like distributed validated technology. Doesn't make it like more efficient
Sorry,
along?
can you repeat the question?
How does that? I was wondering like how the Pectra upgrade like impacts a project like SSV, with its distributed validator technology. Like, what is like the what's like the specific
So it
impact that it
has
may have?
two main areas of impact. One is, as I've kind of hinted before, it's basically reducing costs. So by reducing costs, you simply increase the bottom line for stakers. So I think that's a net positive, and staking APR is going down obviously with how staking rewards are built. So by increasing or reducing the cost and increasing the bottom line, I think it's obviously going to impact positively on stakers. So that's point number one. Point number two is, there's a really big push towards pre-confirmations and base sequencing within the ecosystem. And so if we can increase the blob size, meaning we're going to have more transactions on L2s, and ultimately that's going to merge with pre-confirmations and base sequencing, that will ultimately mean validators will extend what they do today, get involved into the L1 ecosystem by sequencing transactions, and obviously getting a fee out of it. And so that's kind of going to be the second, maybe a bit longer term effect on that, because we can foresee validators simply extending their role and earning more rewards by doing so. And so that's going to be a second point of impact.
And I think the same goes for like something like restaking protocols. How do you explain that, Misha? Like from your point of view, like what does Spectra bring specifically for like restaking protocols, such as Symbiotic, for example? And then there is your competitor Eigenlayer.
Is it to
Yeah,
me
I
or
don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that's immediately like the name of the game for this upgrade. It's not gonna immediately change anything in a really material way. This is like the purpose of this like upgrade is to first fix the issues that we had for a while, right? Like we know that like 32 Ethereum was not enough for any like serious validator company, right? And the other part is that like withdrawal creds, right? The Ethereum was designed to be proof of stake, but like we realized that like it's actually deposit, not pure proof of stake, because like people will delegate it to somebody, and like and because like validators controlled withdrawal creds, and like it was not designed to actually accommodate deposit in a really secure way. So a lot of it are like half of it are fixes. The other half is infrastructure upgrade that are gonna be utilized within like years to come, right? So immediately, yeah, like we expect the better burning mechanisms first, because like you actually can burn permissionlessly. You can withdraw like without actually like relying on validators to start the withdrawal process. And I think the LST services such as Lido will at some point upgrade their contracts to account for like 2k Ethereum stake, which is gonna optimize and like like will affect us in well, because the cost is going to be lower in terms of operators, will affect us, but the effects I think will be marginal.
Yeah, and I wanted to also touch and discuss like gas flexibility, like coming back to like account abstraction. You could like do payments, for instance, in like USDC or like other stable coins. Do you see it as a challenge, that in probably like in the adoption of holding like ether, does it affect like the intrinsic utility of ether when you could just like make payments in any stable coin or any other token?
I actually, if I can I don't think Ethereum's main value is in gas at all. I mean, if you go back to see why people held Ethereum, throughout the years, it was initially the ICO, then ICO phases, right, where people held Ethereum in order to buy ICOs, and then it was because of DeFi you could provide liquidity and counterparty transactions and so on. So the reason why people hold Ethereum is not to pay gas. It's an afterthought because this is how you pay, how you transact with Ethereum. So I don't think it's going to impact at all Ethereum in that sense. Actually, it's going to strengthen it because the UX is going to be better. It's a different discussion why people hold ETH, which I think it's a challenging discussion we need to have. But I don't think those two things are connected. It's like saying, it used to be the case people thought that Bitcoin and Ethereum are for payments. No, they're not. It's like less than 1% of the use cases. Ethereum is a store of value and a utility token to unlock participation in the things it can do. Gas is just paying gas. I mean, it's a UX issue. It's nothing more, I think.
Yeah, I'll fully agree with Alon on that. And plus, if you just logically think about the amount of gas that it requires comparison to the scale of probably the transaction, you've got massive disparity there. So even if in theory it did, I don't think it would have much of an impact. And plus, like Alon said, the UX improvement far outweighs the potential downside you could have there.
We are nearing the end of times when validators say that like the gas is not that important. But yeah, I agree. Like they still will use Ethereum for like the velocity part of money supply. But yeah, I don't think that this particular, like I think UX benefits are way more important for this. It will result in higher fees eventually. If we have like mass adoption, I still believe like that Ethereum can be a payment hub as well. It's becoming more and more complex in what it can do and what the services it can provide. But like, I would hate for us to lose out on an opportunity of getting payment channels as well.
Yeah, I agree with the guys, and mostly to add on the UX improvement is where the gas fees are the most is some DeFi heavy operations, and if we see from our clients when they want to interact with, let's say, the new protocol, or they want to improve their like staking experience or participate in some like protocol with us. So this is where the gas costs are the most, and actually the improvement of this flow will actually improve conversion rates and better adoption and more, let's say, cross-protocol interoperability, which also opens up with account abstraction.
I think we're underestimating the impact of the roll-up centric roadmap. It's not about roll-ups at all. It's about externalizing problems and challenges for the greater market to solve. Every single blockchain tries to solve its limitations by changing the core protocol. And that's not a scalable way of doing things. Ethereum chose a different way, which was keep the core as minimal as possible, let other people solve the challenges Ethereum has. So L2s solve the scale problem, account abstraction solves UX problems, pre-confirmations and base sequencing and composability solve the liquidity issue between L2s, and also gives us sub 100 millisecond confirmation times. And so what you'll end up with is basically Ethereum solving a bunch of different huge problem in of its own by externalizing it to the market, where other blockchains are trying to internalize it and therefore becoming very centralized. And I think that's the real power of what we're seeing. It's kind of dissecting the problems into small pieces and giving the entire market a way to solve them. So account abstraction in of its own is an enabler. It's not a feature. Like me as a user, I have nothing to do with it unless somebody builds something for it. The same goes with pre-comps, the same goes with L2s and so on. So I think that's the powerful thing behind those types of upgrades we're seeing coming out of the EF, is the enablement type, where ultimately the market will solve the actual issues that or challenges Ethereum has.
And just to add on to that point, you see it a lot with sometimes other chains, is when they try to cater to a specific niche, right, and end up pigeonholing themselves to solve for other problems, and then you stop becoming this scalable chain, and you're just stuck in this, this little hole or this little area that you've created for yourself with these boundaries. So I definitely think that's the best approach. Is you keep it minimal, you create something that you can build on top of to solve different use cases.
Yeah.
Alon, you mentioned that the roll-up centric roadmap. You touched on that, but there's like some criticism for this approach. There are some people who say that the base layer should be more scalable to kind of compete with other networks like Solana and so on.
So
Do you
who?
see any merit in that?
What? Solana? I never heard
Solana,
about
I
it.
mentioned. Like in terms of like yeah, so there's like this obviously there's back and
Yeah.
forth between like the Solana and Ethereum communities, but do you see any merit on actually like scaling the base layer? I mean, there's one proposal
Dunkred.
which obviously from Dankrad, yeah, he about like increasing obviously the limit,
Right.
the gas limit.
So so I actually tweeted about it. I think that people are again missing the small print. The reason why I think the main reason why Dunkred suggested what it suggested was not about scale, was about composability. So that's a very different approach. So what I tweeted about saying is, if we can get if we can get synchronous composability between L2s in the next 12 months, we should do that and not scale the L1. But if it's going to take us longer than 12 months, yeah, let's scale the L1. So the question here is not scale, it's about because we already have scale. Like Ethereum today is very scalable and so on. The problem is composability. And so I do see a lot of development happening around that. Shout out to Tycho and others that are doing a lot of work, and a lot Drew from Commit Boost and so on, doing a lot of work on exactly those types of challenges. And again, it's going back to what is the challenge? Composability. Who's going to solve it? It's mostly not the EF. It's people working on synchronous composability, which is out of protocol solutions. And so I think that if we can get synchronous composability within the next 12 months, I think this is the better approach, because it doesn't compromise the centralization. And it adds a lot of value back to Ethereum, because then you can scale, but also create a lot of value by sequencing. The validators doing the sequencing. But if that doesn't meet the timelines we're looking for, then yeah, we can increase gas on L1, but we just need to know there are some trade-offs in doing so.
Yeah, and looking forward to tomorrow's upgrade. Do you gentlemen see like the upgrade like going smoothly? Because there were like some hiccups during like the test net, and other things. Do you see like how do you anticipate the upgrade going? Artemi,
Well, this is like a huge upgrade. I think that like the Ethereum team is very heavy on testing. They are like delayed the upgrade a couple of times for like the smoothless upgrade. Like I believe it should go smooth given the focus of the team responsible for it on testing and on everything is so that everything is in order.
Yeah, I think it should go pretty smoothly, right? Because there was a problem with Haleski, deployed an entirely new testnet in Hoodie, gave it adequate time, or the time they initially expected for people to test, delayed the launch, all for hopefully a smooth launch. If it's not a smooth launch, then I think
is there like a prediction market on this sort of a thing? It could be
what market?
interesting.
Sorry.
Like a prediction market, whether the upgrade would go
There should be.
smoothly or not, you know? So yeah, like I would be interested in like understanding further from the institutional side of things, like how are your clients anticipating these changes that Pectra brings?
Yeah, let me jump in here. So, like to be like straightforward on it, like the institutional clients are very demanding, so they don't most of them don't get into technicalities that much. They just expect their partner, like staking provider in this case, to be 100% ready and to provide them with the best offer. If the staking provider doesn't do it, they are like ready to switch with the validator consolidation functionality. So they're very demanding. So the most, let's say, tech heavy are interested in the capabilities which the upgrade brings. I believe the most the top choices for the institutional clients are definitely validator consolidation for let's say better economic model of their staking. Also, they're very interested in let's say account abstraction and cross protocol interoperability, so that they can diversify their strategies between, let's say, native staking, distributed validator technology staking with SSV, participating in some LRT, and balancing the strategy to provide sustainable and reliable yield. So and this is what we offer to our client. Let's say tailor-made approach for each institutional client, and so that they meet their needs. And but the hygiene level, we are ready. We provide all the functionalities which the Pectra upgrade unlocks, like rewards, auto compounding, validator consolidation, partial withdrawals. So we provide them with the like simple UI UX for it, and they're happy to explore the opportunities which the upgrade brings.
I'll carry forward. So FYI, obviously P2P is primarily B2B. We have like over 1.3 mil ETH tokens in staked AUM, you could call it. But you'd see normally when you have solo stakers, sometimes they really vested into like the technicalities and different setups, and they somewhat become fanatics about the space or running their own validators, even though currently if you're running your own validators and you're super small scale, sometimes the operational infrastructure costs, security management side of things can outweigh the benefit, just going with an operator instead. When you look at the B2B clientele, it's what can Pectra deliver for them? And from a staker's perspective is with validator consolidation, ability to move between high yield strategies, more risk, depending on your risk to reward profile, and even between operators, right? So if you wanted to move between operators today, you would have to unstake your rewards, set up new validators, you go through the withdrawal queue, the withdrawal sweep. You're looking at a 12, probably 10 to 12 day process, which is when you're dealing with B2B clients that are staking hundreds of millions, that's a lot of money lost. What validator consolidation does is you merge validators. You can do it within a day, depending on the validator consolidation queue. And that cuts down the process to 10% of the time it is today. And those opportunities, right? Increasing yield, what's the security perspective, and performance. That's what these clients are looking for. And from our perspective, I think Pectra, you've got a lot of features. We've talked about it, reducing the infrastructure costs that help us to offer lower fees with the validator consolidation, moving between setups. All these factors, I think, are some cool things for clients. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be instant. So Pectra is going to be deployed. You're going to have customers waiting a couple months. They're going to be tracking the ecosystem, seeing how it sort of plays out before they make any decisions, whether they want to consolidate. We've spoken to like LRTs, Lido, Edify. They already their stance is to wait until any big changes are taken.
Yeah, we're about to. We're kind of running out of time. So, Misha, Elon, did you want to add to this institutional perspective? Do you have any insights about it?
Nothing for me.
Yeah, I think like the withdrawal create upgrade is going to be interesting for some new novel mechanisms of like that offer more control to institutions. Other than that, like yeah, I don't think they'll actually notice that much. Again, like that's like fixing known issues and just improving for the future. I think on on the side of L2s, it's going to be more noticeable because it's the blob increase was kind of asked for. So this shows that Ethereum listens to the L2s and like different and wants to support them as much as possible. So it's a generally good signal to have. Yeah, generally positive, but like we'll see. Most people are excited about the next step, so like it's Vector is kind of like just housekeeping in a lot of ways.
Do you know, sorry, as a final statement, I don't think, just for our audience here, and to provide them a little bit more information on Pectra, I don't think we've touched on short activation queues, and also, just slipped my mind, the other one. Short activation queues and essentially validators being able to initiate exits from their withdrawal address. So just a couple lines on these is the current activation queue is whatever the entry queue is, depending on how many validators are trying to activate today, plus you've got a sort of a hard barrier of 12 hours. After Pectra, you're still going to have the entry queue, depending on how many people are trying to enter at the same time, plus sort of a hard barrier of 13 minutes. So you've got a 12-hour reduction. And after Pectra, if there's no entry queue, a validator could stake and start earning rewards realistically within like 13 to 15 minutes, which is super cool. And the second point on being able to trigger withdrawals on the execution layer, today you would essentially need a VEM or voluntary exit message from your operator, or you'd request for your operator to actually initiate the exit. After Pectra, whatever the withdrawal address of the validator is can initiate the exit, which I think gives more ownership to stakers, and it's a really cool feature. I think Misha touched on this beforehand, in how Ethereum was never actually like POS to begin with, you know. But no, these are really, really cool directions Ethereum's heading in.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we can wrap up this discussion at this point. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your insights. Really appreciate it. It was pretty interesting. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna drop off now and hand it over to the P2P team.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thanks,
Yeah,
Vishal.
Vishal, thanks a lot for moderating. Great questions. We kept the audience interested. The number of views grew over time from 200 to 670 viewers at the top. That's cool.
Awesome. I think are we, just to confirm, are we moving over to like a quick demo? Or Vishal? Yeah, Vishal's dropped off. I'll keep this super simple, but we as P2P just wanted to share a quick UI. I promise it's not going to be long, 3 minutes max, on some changes to our DApp that briefly show how you can consolidate validators. I think it's a really key feature of Pectra, and a lot of people would appreciate it. So this is a quick video. We were going to do it live, but obviously since Pectra is being launched, changes are being made. This, in case there were any bugs, decided to do it as a quick video instead. Today, this is our DApp. What you would do is connect your wallet using MetaMask here. Some of that's cropped out, but you connect your wallet. Obviously, currently we've got two forms of staking. We've got direct and DVT by SSV, which Alon is one of the founders of. And for this demo, I'll just select direct staking. So with auto compounding, since consensus layer rewards will go back into the validator to then earn more rewards, we still wanted customers to allow them to run OXO1 validators or pre-Pectra validators in case they still wanted their CLEL rewards to be distributed. So you can still select 32 Ethereum intervals, but if you enable auto compounding, that's when you'd be running new Pectra OXO2 validators. In this case, you can run any value between 32 Ethereum to 2048. So let's do 100 for the sake of this demo. Select your withdrawal address. This is where your Ethereum would go if you were to exit. MEV relays, you could do OFAC compliant, non-OFAC compliant, depending on your regulatory concerns. We sign the transaction, we stake 100 Ethereum, confirm, give this 30 seconds to confirm. And yeah, your transaction is pending. A few seconds to just get a verification on this. And then right after, you can go to your staking dashboard. And this is where I'll briefly show how validator consolidation works. So in this scenario, this wallet has 585 validators. You can see there's a small tag next to each validator. So you can view your deposit transactions as well. We just did 100 ETH. But if you look at the validators, you can see which ones are OXO2, the little purple tag, and which ones are OXO1. So if we go on view all, you see you've got a bunch of OXO1, and then you've got some OXO2 validators. Now, I think this is a super important distinction to make is, do you know when Shapella came out for the Ethereum network and you could access withdrawals? Validator credentials went from OXOO to OXO1. So in order to access Shapella features, you needed to upgrade validators to OXO1. This is the exact same case with Pectra. If you want to access Pectra features like top-ups, partial withdrawals, being able to consolidate or merge validators, auto-compounding, you have to run OXO2 validators. So you can see from the UI, every OXO2 has a merge to button, meaning you can consolidate to it, have it as a target address. Every OXO1, before you have access to Pectra features, you would have to first upgrade it. You can see, and the only extra thing you can sort of do is a full withdrawal. We'll quickly upgrade a validator. It's a single transaction, super quick. Click upgrade, you sign the transaction, confirm, and then shortly after, your validator will be upgraded. Let's quickly do the consolidation flow. So if I was to select a validator to merge to, this would act as the final validator that all of the Ethereum for my source validators goes into. I can go back, I can select another merge to validator, and you can see it's selected as a target, but let's stick with the first one. Once that's done, You can then paste in multiple source validators. So from the list we have below, or you can actually paste in through the search bar a list of keys. They could be from other operators with different withdrawal addresses, and you can consolidate. So once you're happy, for the purpose of the demo, we'll select 2 of our P2P validators, and you can see the final balance of our target validator will be 160 ETH. We click confirm, verify the details, auto compounding will be turned on, the summary balance, consolidation fee. By the way, consolidation fee is a new fee depending on how many validators are trying to consolidate at once. So I think it's important as people get confused with gas fees to add this consolidation fee as well. One more thing, normally these transactions could be bulked if your wallet has integrated with multi-core, such as Safe. I believe MetaMask is in the process of doing this. But if that's not the case, then you would just have to individually sign the transactions. So for now, MetaMask has not. We will sign the 2 merge transactions. I'll point out here is only transactions from the source validators withdrawal addresses have to be signed, not from the selected target validator, because the source validator balance will go into the target validator. We sign the transactions one by one, super quick, and done. There's a 1-day time before your validators consolidate into your target validator, but that's it. Super simple. You can do multiple validators at once, and this is a key thing of moving to operators that might have higher yield or higher performance, or open to different strategies like DVT that are more secure and offer high yields, or increase incentives. But yeah, it opens up a lot of cool doors. That's it on the demo side. Hopefully that was short enough.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's wrap it up. It was a great chat. So thanks to everyone for listening to us. Yeah, drop us messages because our roadmap is super packed with the Ethereum related features and account abstraction and yeah, more cool stuff to come. So yeah, stay tuned. Yeah, thank you everyone, guys.
Thanks, Otemi. Thanks everyone for joining. Take care.